In this franchise, we have seen the rise of the Vikings dynasty, winning 4 Super Bowl titles in a row and achieving levels of success we've never seen on this channel. But one thing that is certainly true in the world of sports is that nothing lasts forever. No team, no player stays on top forever. We had our run ended in heartbreaking fashion after 4 straight Super Bowl titles, and the following season, things really fell apart for a team that was on top of the NFL world for a long time. And that brings us to where we are today, with a 7-10 team coming off a very mediocre season where we didn't really do anything well. Our time in this series began by needing to rebuild the Minnesota Vikings, and that's where we find ourselves once again at this stage. We have the quarterback in Richard Hudick, and we have some stars like Justin Jefferson. One player we've barely gotten to know in this series is Devin Cook, because we acquired him during the dynasty when we weren't really following the team as closely. After the last 2 videos, however, it seems a lot of you are interested, and I am interested in the rebuild of this Minnesota Vikings team. Can we get them back to the top again? Now with a very different salary cap situation, because now we have the expensive quarterback contract. I think everybody's well aware of the modern day team building meta, I guess you could say, of building around a rookie quarterback contract, which if you hit on a rookie quarterback, that is going to make everything significantly easier. The rookie pay scale really changed everything in terms of modern team building back with the 2011, I think it would be, CBA. So the Vikings need to be rebuilt, dealing with these cap hits for quarterback Richard Hudick. And on top of that, we now have an opportunity to find a whole new group of players to build a winning team around. Sure, we still have guys like Justin Jefferson, but he just turned 31. Time is obviously a factor in a rebuild, even though Jefferson is still an elite player and he's not regressing whatsoever. Eventually he will be. NFL playing careers are shorter, primes are even shorter than that. So it's time for us to try and reconstruct this Vikings team around the stars we have, but know that the players who will get us back to the Super Bowl probably aren't on the roster right now, or the ones that'll make the difference in being mediocre again and getting this team back to the top. The last 2 videos I really enjoyed putting together, and I did, attempt to approach those off seasons with the idea that I would come back to the team. I wasn't just going through the motions in the off season. It was harder. In free agency, we got denied by a lot of players, and then we lost a bunch of players we just couldn't afford any longer. And eventually, I do think, especially with this drafting mechanic in this game, where they're not feeding you everybody's true talent. Back in the scouting with Madden 20, you could easily get 3 to 4 first-round talents a draft. It's not as easy in this game. And I know that 2 drafts ago, I didn't do all that well, and I think once you're in a position like our team is, needing to replenish the roster, one bad draft can really set a team back. So with that, yes, we are going to be slowing down the series somewhat. Today's episode is going to focus on the offseason and conversation around this team. Once we get to games again, I think the season will still go by fairly quickly, but I think it'll be more like some of my classic series, where maybe we watch a few games a year and really focus on what is most important. But what I am most excited for, I think, is to get to watch and enjoy a player like Devin Cook. He's not popping up right here because he is injured. However, I am looking forward to watching games, caring about this team's success, and hopefully seeing him do the things a generational running back should do. So if you're excited for basically a reboot of this series, please leave a like. Let me know down below what you'd like to see going forward in future episodes as we continue on here with the Minnesota Vikings franchise. We did not lose our coordinators this year. No surprise, we weren't a very good team. But we've had a lot of turnover there. We finally lost coordinators, and then I promoted Justin King to head coach. which I could do because I'm now playing as the owner of the team. And it's a nice change of pace just because I've been playing as a coach now for a few years. I like playing as the owner because you have to worry about finance. So in the top right corner, you see my funds are at $75 million. Anytime we pay a signing bonus, it comes out of those funds. And that creates a little bit of a barrier. I can't just go out and hand out all the money then. I have to make sure I'm making enough. And we have had a situation back in the Browns franchise where actually we went under. And if you stay under for a full year, you lose the team. You get put on like financial probation. So that's a cool thing you have to think about as an owner of the team. And then just getting to mess around a bit more with setting the prices of everything. I mean, that's always fun. I do lose a few features, notably the coaching interviews and some of those storylines, but honestly, I'm kind of over those in a way, and as long as I still get the breakout stuff, I'm pretty good with that. So we all know how this season went for us. It wasn't a good one. A lot of ugly losses in there, just an average scoring offense. The offensive line isn't what it once was. I didn't think it would make this much of a difference. I tried to sign guys in free agency. I mean, I tried to bring back Lane Quincy. I tried to bring back Wyatt Teller. But they were some of the best free agents available. It was competitive. And even if you make the best offer, you can still lose. I enjoy that challenge with free agency. It's very important to draft well and re-sign your players. I think free agency should be a very unpredictable and chaotic part of rebuilding. Do we have any retirements this year? Jalen Ramsey and a bunch of players that are still from the real NFL are retiring. Let's just skip right to us. No retirements. Looking at the oldest players on the roster, it does look like Justin Tucker is dropping a bit more. We'll see if he ends up returning this season. Jefferson's still a 99. Cam Dantzler is an 89, so he looks to be down a little bit. Lost 10 points, 1 awareness, 2 injury, 3 acceleration. So Dantzler, of course, getting older, and that was a big reason why I selected Kamani Gary in the first round of the last draft. I feel like we have a cornerback that can take over from one of these two, and they're both now a bit older. Lewis Seen is 30 years old. It looks like he is down to 85. The morale is hurting him right now, but he just went down 8 points. And then you think about some of the guys who are, 28 years old now. You got Alex Richards and J.D. McGraw, Josh Ballard. Like, there's going to be a significant effort to get this team younger. And hopefully we can replace some of these players with some solid talents. We're going to pick a lot higher in this draft, that is for sure. I hoped it would be higher than that. 14? We were 7-10, and you can't even give me a top 10 pick, like number 10? There are so many mediocre teams that were worse than us. How many 6-win teams were there? 7 6-win teams. Why couldn't we lose one more? Yeah, winning this game here might have hurt us a little bit, actually. That should still put us in position to take a pretty good young player at 14. They're projecting us to go with a tackle, which I don't think is likely. One thing that looks promising, though, is even below us, there are so many edge rushers. And I feel like I've been talking about adding an edge rusher at every stage of this series. We've done everything well except for get a young edge rusher that can make an impact. I am not done trying. However, I really need one of these moves to work. I really felt like the John Riddick move was pretty good process in the last episode. It just didn't work out. I don't know if it would be better if I moved him out to the edge at 6'5", 272. I feel like that's pretty close to like Rashawn Gary's size, and just thinking about the ratings and if they make sense, I think he's athletic enough. I guess I can't sleep though on the offensive line. Like, it has gotten significantly worse. Free agency was not kind to us. This Bernard Connor signing, I don't know about this one. He gave up like 17 sacks last year, and that pass block power ain't getting any better. Haven't seen the team with this much normal development in a while either. We only have one above normal along the offensive line, three playmakers on offense, a running back, receiver, tight end, and that's a pretty good situation. Defensively, 3 guys in the secondary, 2 guys along the line, and then 1 linebacker. So what's the situation like this year? Let's get to re-sign some players now. We have 155 in cap space. That is a ton. Key players, though, like Justin Jefferson, are going to be eating away at that significantly. If we can't sign Jefferson, I mean, the franchise tag could not be applied faster. Very okay with this deal. He's making quarterback money, but he has an impact similar to a quarterback, I think. So, 4 years, over $30 million a season. Justin Jefferson would like to play for a new team next year, and I am not about to allow that to happen. 1 year and $36 million. One thing Madden needs to do is allow you to continue to negotiate with players who have the franchise tag. Like, I should get a couple more chances during the offseason to make a deal. And then you got Cam Dantzler down to 89 overall, like I said. To bring him back, it would be probably 16, 17 a year, and now a franchise tag's already been used. So, you know, I like to see this not hit free agency. And now, check this out. Player motivations. Vikings are considered the underdog in the Super Bowl chase. And we do get Cam Dantzler back. So we had $155 million in cap space a minute ago. Now we have 101. That was 1/3 of our space gone. And the thing that you can't overlook, and what had a huge impact in the last 2 videos I did, is that these like mid-70s, you know, kind of starting caliber players, you're not getting them for like 1.5 million in a lot of cases. The Bernard Johnsons of the world, yeah, $4, $5, $6 million, it begins to add up. And it's even more so at premium spots. Like, I had to pay Josh Sweat last year over $10 million. Now I can get him for 3, but he's a 73 overall. So I love that there's that kind of market at play. The NFL doesn't really have a huge middle class in terms of contracts. Think about the quarterback positions. You know, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, these guys don't make half as much as the top quarterbacks in the NFL. They typically make, you know, 90% as much. And I think that's true for a lot of positions. There really isn't the middle class. If the elite guys make 20 a year, the guys you're going to pay 10 to are a lot worse than you think on the surface. One thing that's also unique to the NFL, and it's not super relevant in Madden, but I don't think there's a sporting league that I'm aware of where the market is so driven by bad teams. In the NFL, top free agents, they've been going to Jacksonville for years. Tampa, Miami, all these teams that tend to have a bunch of cap space, they always end up getting the big free agents. And because they have more cap space, they drive the market up even higher. Think about the Christian Kirk deal last year, and you can go back to any number of deals. You know, Malik Jackson going to Jacksonville, or let's talk about the Albert Hainsworth deal a decade ago, a decade and a half. Like, bad teams drive the market up so fast in this league. So we have 100 in cap space, but we know that we have to also fill depth, and it's not going to be $100 million to go out and get splashy in free agency. Justin Underwood, 6th offensive lineman. That cost us $4 million. Most of the guys, though, over 30 that aren't starters, they're going to be let go. Let's check out the ratings now for Tucker. Are we actually looking for a new kicker? I think we are. 87 power, 81 accuracy. Might be end of an era. Michael Dixon is still an 84 overall punter, and if we're not a great offense, it's good to have a good punter, right? Was that the thought process behind the Jaguars taking Bradley Pinion in the 3rd round? I know that's like a 10-year-old reference. The part I'm not so sure about is our cap situation better this year, or is it worse? I really don't know yet. We got Jamie Malone. Some of these backups are at least a little intriguing in terms of where they could be in a couple of years. So, yes, I do like Charles Allen. And to bring him back, of course, I think he might have been a practice squad player, and that's why it's going to already cost us like $4 million. He's back. We'll let Dorian Powell test free agency. He doesn't seem interested in returning. Same is true for Tyler Tolliver. Ronnie Miles will go. A couple guys who are replaceable: Ezekiel Watson, Bernard Johnson. I'll probably try to bring back Zeke, but he wants a warm weather state and he wants to go close to home. So Zeke's probably not coming back. But Bernard Johnson, he likes being a teammate of Richard Hudix. He's back. And that just leaves Lewis Seen, and he does want to come back. We have the cap space to make it work. And I think that I'm cool offering this contract right here for 3 years. In free agency, then, we need to look at how we can improve this offensive line. Clay Kutcher at right tackle. So we have 2 players at least star development there. But the interior needs some help. We need to look at a center, look at a guard. And then I think we also have to keep an eye out for a third playmaker in the passing game, or just that wide receiver. I think that RB2 is probably secured with Isaiah Northrup, but lost his star dev despite getting playing time last year. Like, I shut down Devin Cook, and Northrup didn't produce enough to keep that that development. Front 7 help is still something we need to address. We should have our starting secondary already taken care of, however. Let's see who's out there. Keep in mind now, I have $34.9 million that I can give out in signing bonuses combined. Like, the Justin Jefferson franchise tag, I think, took away a lot of money. Alton Walker, Trevor Lawrence, Mike Stevens, Shaquem Kitchens, Keon Nix, Jermaine Johnson. Does not want to go back home to Minnesota, apparently. All right, so Alton Walker is kind of the big free agent this year, but our bonus, we can only give out so much. Also, he's not interested in us, and 23 teams have already offered a contract of $26 million a year. So this is one of the best free agents we've seen in the entire series. Just an elite level speed rusher. What's he done in his career? He's never produced that in elite level, however. Check out the interest as well. Like, not many are all that interested in coming here. Only one team has offered to Trevor Lawrence. I'm interested to see what happens there. 7 have offered to Kyler Murray, who's older and 8 overall worse. Let's go O-line. So Orlando Brown is available. 6 teams are interested. Max Mitchell. For the interior, we got 77s and 78 at center. Would that be enough of a difference? I'm probably in on one interior player to get that guard spot solidified, but I don't think that we're looking at enough of an upgrade over Ben Dodson. Nate Davis is probably one of the best options, but he's not all that interested in us. But I'm still going to go for it. We have some cap space here, and I'm going to offer a strong deal here. $7 million. Defensively now, do we consider a guy like Jermaine Johnson? I think that at 12.4 a year, it's possible, but again, like, the interest doesn't match up for a lot of these players. Derek Brown's available, but the Super Bowl chase flipping has just completely changed how attractive we are in free agency. Oh, that's interesting. Alton Walker wants a mentor at the position. That is, I don't know if I've seen that motivation pop up much. Jermaine Johnson has had double-digit sack seasons 2 out of the last 3 years, and he has been very productive. We've gotten, like, next to nothing out of our edge rush for a couple of years. I'm going to make a big offer here to Jermaine Johnson, and I think that's one of the better ways we can get aggressive this year. And I'm going to go more so boosting salary over bonus just because our funds are getting low. So I know this is going to be tough, but hoping it's competitive. Yeah, Patriots are still above us too. All right, it took a lot to get up there with New England. We've offered like $18 million a season. And then if we want to improve this run defense again this year, I am interested in a guy like Derek Brown. And he's one of the better options out there. So I don't know if I'm going to offer quite as much for this role. We have a couple young guys who might be interesting there. But if I can get Derek Brown for like $5 million, I'd be happy. And then, you know, we have seen some injury issues with Devin Cook. And that RB2 role is one that's going to play. So I'm going to throw a 1-year offer out there for Keon Nix. And then for that third receiver role, there's nobody else offering right now to John Booth. He's a deep threat, so he has a skill set that I think complements the receivers we have. Not really a huge producer the last couple of years, but he's been productive in this series. So if he can go and get a few big plays every now and then, help open things up for Jefferson and Stockton, I'd be pretty happy with that. All right, let's see if any of these deals are going to work out for us. Evaluate. We got one. Keon Nix. We got a running back, everybody. And decisions have already been made for 2 other players, which means we missed out on Jermaine Johnson. He ends up going to the Chargers. Took a lot less money. I mean, I'm offering way more money, but he wanted to go to the Chargers, so he does. And the top free agent, Alton Walker, went to Seattle. 3 years and not quite $80 million, but a pretty big deal for him. And then Nate Davis went to the Bills, I think, taking less money. Kyler Murray goes to the Jets. Did Trevor Lawrence pick? No. So now we go to our other options along the offensive line. I knew we'd have a few that are still in the mid to high 70s. Might end up going here for a guy like Jalen Mayfield. Pass block finesse, though, very, very low. You start to get a lot of players who have a glaring weakness. That's going to scare you a little bit. Might have to improve this a little bit, but I'll go for a 1-year offer on Mayfield. At least Josh Allen now would be a mentor at outside linebacker, so we've got to bring in somebody. I'd like to draft some starters again this year, but we'll have to bring in some mentors. Let's not forget about kicker now. Looks like the best available is Younghoe Koo. And we do have 91 power, 88 accuracy. So let's make sure we continue to have a really good kicker in this series. And he's interested in coming here, so that's good for a change. We do need a new backup quarterback, and Tua Tagovailoa could be as good as anybody out there and wouldn't be looking for the biggest contract. Oh, I've already given out 5 offers. I guess we'll come back to Tua possibly. All right, we got 1 player in free agency, and now we got 3 with Younghoe Koo and Josh Allen accepting. We are still in the mix for John Booth, but have to come up. Derek Brown and Jalen Mayfield are still holding out for larger deals, and I will improve the offer now for Derek Brown, but I got to bring down that bonus because it's getting harder to pay for these. John Booth, though, we're probably just going to be out on. Like, yeah, if he was there for a 1-year deal, then I was in. But I might pivot now, and maybe Kenya Camp can do the same thing. Yeah, deep threat, 96 speed. It's the same role. So let's give Kenya Camp the 1-year offer and bring down that signing bonus a little bit. You know, when possible, I've also been trying to find some free agents who, like, aren't 31 years old. That's been a little bit of a challenge here. I do want to replace Ezekiel Watson with at least 1 veteran, but very interested in a rookie potentially getting some playing time here. I would like to maybe offer a 1-year deal to Phillip Williams. And we missed out on Tua, so he got a backup deal somewhere else. I think we'll offer instead to J.P. Turner. Has some decent short accuracy. He's a 4-year pro. He's learned in New England as a 5th-round pick. We got at least one more player. We got Phillip Williams, and we got J.P. Turner. So 5 additions in free agency. Jalen Mayfield still holding out for more. I guess I'll increase this offer slightly. I guess I'll improve pretty much all these deals then, considering we have the space. Might end up having to look at the trade market once again this year. I don't know. Free agency just hasn't been kind to us lately. We, of course, made a lot of trades at the deadline, and it's something you have to do in this game sometimes because there is no compensatory pick formula that's going to help you out in the future. So I traded some players that I didn't think would affect our win total as much, gave us a chance to still turn the season around. But we do have a fair amount of top 100 picks now. We'll pick twice in the second, twice in the third, and man, these picks got to start counting. Going through the roster, we definitely need to add a tight end at some point, and we did get Jalen Mayfield, so we have an offensive line I think you can take into week 1. It still won't be a great one, but you can. We also got Kenya Camp, and then Keon Nix. So a future starter along the offensive line would be nice. I don't think that's something we have to address late for depth. I like some of our depth there. I'd like Dodson to become depth once again, ideally. And then you got Justin Underwood. So I think a lot of the attention is still on the defense. Like, I think we need that next big front 7 player. We got Josh Allen, Burse, Riddick, and Derek Brown signed. So looks like we got a lot of deals done as I simulated to this week. So we've got some veterans on the team now. And the next step is to hopefully find future starters in the draft. When it came to scouting, I did put a lot of our attention along the tackle spot. So finding a future starter there would be ideal. David Barrett could be one of our better options. A awareness, B pass, B run block, a lot to like. And on top of that, a really, really good athlete. Top performer in a lot of drills. Little injury prone though. And then you wonder who's going to be there at 14 for us if we want to go defense. Would Trayvon Murray potentially be available? He's an elite athlete, 1st-round projected player, B finesse, A to C power move. Could definitely be in the mix for us. I'm probably putting all of our workouts on some of these edge rushers that we don't have a ton of info on, just to see a bit more clearly if they'd be a quality starter. But I don't think there's much else for us to do in free agency. We got our targets, missed on some others, and I think the draft can fill a fair amount of remaining holes on the roster. But I think it's time for the Minnesota Vikings to go and sign one of the better blocking tight ends to a deal, so we will do that, hopefully. What do you mean he went to Pittsburgh instead? All right, we got Dallas Goedert instead. I want to focus on some players that'll actually be there when we select. It looks like we'd have to move up for Trayvon Murray or David Borden. I don't know if I want to be moving up. I guess I have to be a little bit open to. So Bill Harrison should be there. Daniel Graham, I already wanted to scout him further. Amari Red is a player that we could also look at. Sammy Yarbrough is also interested in. It's time for the 2030 NFL Draft, everybody. And we're picking in the middle. Kind of interesting. The Atlanta Falcons pick first. And we got 2 division rivals who are going to pick way later than us because the Bears and Lions were excellent last year. Green Bay was actually worse than us. Number 1 corner, Keenan Norris from NC State. The Bills go Ben Evans, a tackle, to help block for Josh Allen. The Eagles go and take Dave Cann. And they're hoping he can be their next franchise quarterback. The Texans go Richard Brooks. The Commanders, Trayvon Murray, North Dakota State. And David Borden off the board. The pass rushers I wanted extra info on were first Amari Red. We got 90% on him now. And he's a really, really good athlete. Ran 4.55 at his pro day. And then he is a good finesse rusher, A awareness, B block shed. For power, that looks to be a C. So the type of player I think could eventually do everything at least a little bit well. I like that. Then there was Daniel Graham. Graham is also a very good athlete. 4.58 at his pro day. B finesse, C power, C block shed. Little less injury prone, but I think a similar prospect. I like Red a little bit more, but you have to weigh in the injury risk as well, and who is rated higher and who might end up having a better chance at hidden development. I would probably give the edge to Red. And then the third player was Sammy Yarbrough, and now this is a complete profile. So he's around 1 to 2 talent. He is, not quite the athlete, but he's strong, 265 pounds, physical player, a lot of good traits there. And Sammy has C finesse to A power, B block shed, A awareness. So I love that high strength and power. I think that, again, he could do everything at least a little bit well. Little injury prone. Madden loves to make players injury prone. All should be there by the time we select. Tackle to the Packers. The Saints go receiver. First off the board, Calvin Parker. J.R. Yarbrough, the corner out of Temple. The Raiders, Kai Gethers out of Alabama. Zaire Wall. Keith Roll, and the last pick ahead of us will be Luke Peterson. First off, what are our trade down offers from 14? We can move down. Oh, this wouldn't be 15 this year. It'd be 15 next year. Come on, guys. Offer something reasonable for 20, 30 first-round picks. 25? Do I want to fall that far to get a 2 and a 3? We could fall to 19. 4 slots and pick up a 2 next year. We might want that pick. I think I like that one. That's not far to fall. Just 5 spots. Get that extra second-round pick. I'm going to do that trade. All right, who'd the Rams trade up for? One of our targets, maybe? Amari Red. All right, so that's the first player we've got to check out when this draft concludes. Amari Red out of Ohio State. Next up, David Barrett. Solid tackle out of Alabama. Next up, Daniel Graham. 2 of the 3 edges that I was just talking about were just taken. Zach Rucker, and the Dolphins now, Dominique Keys. So we get some extra draft value, but was our decision ultimately made for us to maybe end up taking Sammy Yarbrough? We know his talent. We know this wouldn't be like a home run, like we got significant value, but it could be like good value type of pick. And that is the direction I am leaning here. Gavin Farrell, tackle. Elite strength, really good athlete. We know he's around 1 to 2 talent. A run blocking first tackle, I don't think is as valuable to me as a potential starting edge rusher who has a really high strength in A power. So, with that being said, we are going to be adding Sammy Yarbrough with our first round pick this year. Hidden development out of Auburn. So, we've continued to add players when it comes to this front 7 and edge rush. We're giving ourselves another option, and hopefully this one works out for us because our defense needs it. I have a feeling all 3 of those edges are going to be pretty good players, but I wonder if the other ones end up with hidden dev as well. So we have a pick now coming up at 214. So that's going to be mid-second. Can still get a contributor on day 1. A couple areas I'd like to address would be linebacker, but it's a very thin linebacker class. There was only one player projected to go in the first 3 rounds. I don't know if he's still going to be there. And then I think you worry about future of the offensive line, future of the defensive line. Cowboys, Jonathan Buckhalter out of Alabama. Bama has so many first-round picks this year, it seems. And there's a Clemson going high. And there's a Texas. Deion Baskerville. David Hodges. He might be the one linebacker that was supposed to go in the first 3 rounds. Safety out of Auburn. Sammy Waller to Green Bay. So we've both taken Auburn defenders in this draft. We have 2 picks in the next 10. Let's see if we can make these count. Defensive tackle has been a big focus of mine. 2 are here at the very top of the available board. Luke Perry. You certainly like this athleticism. That's a first-round athlete. How come he didn't go in the first round? C awareness, C finesse, B power, B play rec, and C block shed. Needs some time to develop. I think he'd be a solid pick with that athleticism. Ramon Meredith out of West Virginia. B power and B block shed? All right. He's got some speed too. 4.75 at 306 pounds. What's not to like here about Ramon Meredith? All right. Can anybody take me off of that? Luke Cole at receiver. F deep, F release. Not a good start here, Luke. He runs fast. But there ain't enough here for me. Hunter Rich out of Ohio State now. We have a tackle. Ooh, A awareness, B pass block. Elite acceleration, great speed, decent strength. Yeah, we got some weaknesses there in the power element of his game. Kirk Swan. Now we have a guard who moves pretty effectively. Good against finesse. Power, iffy there. All right, I think I'm mostly intrigued here then with the tackle, the defensive tackle, Ramon Meredith out of West Virginia. Really trying to build up the future of this defense. And Ramon Meredith is our next pick, and we got Hidden Dev again. All right, we're 2 for 2 in that department. 2 guys that can help lead the way for the future of this front 7. That is huge. I think now your attention has to become a little more concerned with the state of the offensive line. Hunter Rich goes the very next pick. I think Rich probably could have been our pick when we come up again, but I didn't like him more than Meredith. Kirk Swan is off the board, 2 picks ahead of our next selection, so we're here. It also doesn't hurt to keep options open at wide receiver. We're not as deep there as we once were. 6'5", 225 pounds, and a slot archetype for Zach Ragland. Marginal acceleration, I want to go back already. A catch in traffic, B catching, B spec catch. I don't really want Alan Lazard. What about Braxton Ewing? Maybe a future starter at safety would be something worth pursuing here. Athletically, good at a few things. That's solid. B finesse, B pursuit. Not a lot here to go off of. This is already going to be day 3 talents, but a couple things to like here with Trey Glass. Maybe we come back to him later if we like what we see. Decent strength, decent speed. Certainly not a great athlete, but an effective pass protector. But we're not going to reach on day 3 talent. Really good athlete at center. We have Harry Carnegie. A pass block. Like, all those pass blockings are in the A. He's projected to be a round 3 to 4 player. But there's enough here to maybe in the second round. He's not bad at all. I think he's my favorite option if I can't find anybody else. The board has him definitely down a bit. 55. Here's a tackle in Gary Garfield, who's really not a good run blocker at all, but he's an excellent pass blocker with A awareness. He's more so projected to go in this range. if you're okay with a tackle who offers next to nothing run blocking. I think in the second round, I'll go for that. Wow, 3 for 3, hidden dev on Gary Garfield. So 79 strength, but A's across the board for pass protection, injury, and awareness. He should be a first rounder with that. Trying to rebuild this Vikings team, and it sure feels like we're off to a good start. And now we do pick, oh wow, another quarterback named Josh Allen. We do pick like really early in the third. So if we want to take that center, even though it feels like a slight reach, we've already addressed needs and we feel really good about it. And the Lions took the receiver that I called Alan Lazard and I didn't think was very good. We'll see how good he is. But I might take the center next. We do pick again though mid threes. So I love in like the second and third rounds, I think one of the greatest things you can do there is just like shorten your distance between your next pick. I think it makes it so much more predictable, less needing to reach because a player might not be there in 32 spots. So is there anything else we'd want to do with this pick? Like we still need safety depth. Linebacker is something I want to look at. Juan Carroll, I think you'd just be guessing by taking him, and this is too high to be guessing. Pass coverage linebacker. All right, you got my attention. I've really gotten myself into trouble, though, with some of these outside linebackers that are supposed to be good in coverage, but he's clearly not a pass rusher. Coverage looks good. B awareness. The athleticism, I felt like I wanted more speed, but the rest is all right. There's a lot of size at receiver in this draft class. I do like Matthew Jackson. 6'3", 234, but he runs, 4.47. Should have solid speed, so you think 90, probably 91, possibly. B to D deep, C short, A spec catch. I don't know about this spot, but he's somebody I could come back to, possibly. I think here I'll go Stephon Claiborne. Hoping for a linebacker who can provide us, a possible starter. Normal development this time. But that's a skill set that I've been looking for, and we need the depth there. I'm hoping the coverage is at least decent and gives us a player to develop. I probably don't take him there if he's not rated higher than the other players I was interested in. That's always the tough part. Like, I don't like him more than the other players, but I feel like this is the way I have to draft if I want to get the players I like, all of them. I think here I want to take the center, even though it feels a little bit early. I just like Harry Carnegie. I think there's enough of a potential starting future with him. He is our fourth hidden dev rookie of this class. Wow. We've had some good drafts on the channel. This has a chance to be one of the best in a while. I think the receiver might not be there when we select again, but the main thing I liked about him was just that he had speed. There wasn't a whole lot developed in his skill set. It is the fourth round, and we're on the clock again. I'm going to take Matthew Jackson here. Just wide receiver depth. Was a little intrigued with him. And now's the time. Normal dev on him. 89 speed despite running 4.4. But I think that it's another archetype of receiver that we don't really have. We didn't have a pure deep threat, and we didn't really have a big physical receiver. It seems like I haven't found many I've been intrigued with lately. But now we don't pick again for a while. This time around, I want to address safety depth, and we're going to select Tavares Creighton. He's a run support safety with A hit power, elite strength, and he runs pretty well. So let's bring him in. Normal dev on him. In the sixth round, we're going to double up on linebacker by selecting Isaiah Phelps, who has more athleticism than the first linebacker we took. Also has B-zone coverage. No way. No way we just got hidden development again. That's 5. And our last pick is going to be at tight end. We have Matt Sheehan. And we just could use some more depth there. No hidden development this time. We only got 5. This was a very big draft for this franchise to try and rebuild the Minnesota Vikings again. And I think we're going to be pretty happy with this one. Let's check out some ratings now. We got 73, 71, 72, and then Claiborne 64. I felt like he could be lower. And Carnegie and Jackson were higher rated. 66, 64, 55. Yeah, pretty happy with that, getting 4 players in the 70s. Our first player, and a guy we want to start right away, is Sammy Yarbrough. Really tight archetypes here for power, run, stop, and speed. I love that. 81 speed, 78 power, 75 block shed. Really excited here about Sammy. We just got to change that number, though, because that ain't going to work. Ramon Meredith seemed way too good to pass up on, and his athleticism at 306 pounds was something that I wanted on this defense. 76 speed, 78 acceleration. He's going to need a little time, but I don't think it'll be too long before he has a chance to start and make an impact. Gary Garfield, a pass protector with his skills, simply just could not last another pick. And sure, he is not offering a ton as a run blocker, but his run block power, it could be worse. He's got a weakness with run block finesse. It's odd that he's not strong, but it's finesse that gets the better of him and not power. I guess he's not a terrific athlete either, but the guy can pass protect. Stephon Claiborne. This was really a pick a bit out of desperation, just wanting to find somebody who could potentially give us something in coverage. But those coverage grades didn't translate to anything meaningful at outside linebacker. It's just not good. Harry Carnegie, again, just a pass protector that looked too good to keep on the board. And I'm really happy with the possibilities of getting 2 future starting linemen. Now, of course, if we want them to maintain their development and truly develop, they may have to play early. Might make some hard decisions. Yes, I got 5 hidden dev players, but I don't think outside of Yarbrough and Meredith that we have guaranteed really, really good starters, because there are weaknesses in the games of Garfield and Carnegie. And then the 5th one we got, that's going to be a player that's still so low rated. So it's great to get hidden dev, but I still think there's work to do. Matt Jackson, 67 overall, 89 speed, decent short route running. He's going to be depth, and we'll see what he turns into. Then you got Tavares Creighton, the hard-hitting safety out of Georgia. 88 speed, 70 zone, 86 hit power. You want him on special teams, for sure. Isaiah Phelps. Better than our 3rd-round pick at linebacker. Not even close. Matt Sheehan. I'm not sure he's better than the players I was attempting to replace. The first player taken was perhaps a generational corner to the Atlanta Falcons. Keenan Norris. Not bad. Yeah, he's got very good starting skills on day 1. His future is very bright. But of course, we made the move to trade down in the 1st round and took a bit of a risk in doing so, because a couple of the targets we had went. Amari Red, normal dev out of Ohio State. 76 finesse, 83 speed. It's really hard to say with these edge rushers, because they a lot of times just don't produce even with solid ratings. You kind of have to get lucky that it all comes together and they get the sacks and they do develop. So he's got a chance. I liked him a lot. And then Daniel Graham went, and I got nervous because I knew 2 options were gone. Hidden dev on Danny Graham, 85 speed, 76 finesse. His block sheds at 69, powers at 67. If I had the choice of both Graham and Yarbrough, I hadn't really gone through who I preferred. So I am happy to get Sammy, though. He is the same overall, not quite as athletic, but I think that he has a chance to be well-rounded in the same way that Graham does. And in getting him instead, we got a second-round pick out of it. So I do think that's a pretty good tiebreaker. Now, Graham was a lot less injury-prone. That was going to be one of his advantages, which I clearly didn't value enough. Sammy's also a better run defender. The Lions, meanwhile, they ended up taking a couple players in the 70s, and I never even gave Zach Ragland a second thought. Hidden development, big slot, 90 speed. He's got some skill that I was overlooking. Really good pick, Detroit. I'm not sure he's good enough to wear Calvin's number, though. They also took Sheldon Poole late in the first round, and that's just a hidden dev tackle for them to begin developing. So we've seen the Lions and Bears really do some great things in this series lately. It's a competitive NFC North now, and in Chicago this year, I feel like we didn't talk about them during the draft. They took one player in the 70s, Rasheem Bell, defensive end, Ohio State. They got themselves a pass rusher early on. Looks okay. Green Bay, though, they've been picking higher, top 10. They ended up getting 4 players at least to 70. Could Green Bay become a bit of a pain for us once again? They took a hidden dev tackle in Nolan Brandt. So everybody in the division got at least one hidden dev rookie in this draft. Sammy Walker at 75. Really high overall. Normal dev. But I think in this case, you're okay with that, because he does come in a bit inflated than overall. Guard Leslie Fountain, hidden development. Packers offensive line gets stronger this year. And their 4th player, Stephon Gay, defensive tackle, Florida Atlantic, hidden development. So, really good year for the NFC North in drafting. And we'll see if our efforts today have moved the needle enough. I feel like it's a better draft. Like, you never expect 5. I go in hoping to get my first round pick hidden development, and then I hope that at least one more player has like solid future starting potential, depending on where we're selecting. So this class for us, I think, is really promising for the future. And the next step is honestly just, do we play the highest overall players we have to try to get back to the playoffs this year? Or do we kind of eat it a little bit, playing some young guys and hope that by the end of the year, we're in okay shape? I think that decreases your chances of winning the division, but if you just look at the playoffs all the same, if you're not an elite team, which I think there's some merit to, you know, can we get Garfield out there? For sure, I want to get Sammy out there because I don't trust edge rushers in this game. I'm just going to play the best young guy we got. But what about a guy like Meredith? I mean, probably not going to play him over Derek Brown. Yeah, we got some decisions to make. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. And again, I hope you're looking forward to the future of this series, and we'll see, you know, what the interest is as we continue on. But a fun off season today, and more Vikings coming your way later this week. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a great day.